Kia ora, my name is Alan Court and I am the owner of the Kiddywinkles Early Learning Centres in New Zealand. Welcome to our Building Kids for Greatness podcast series, where we have had some wonderful guests, including one of New Zealand's very well-known TV icons, Susie Cato. I've also had the pleasure of interviewing Hollywood A-lister Vince Vaughn. And today we have another very special guest, a great All Black rugby player, a person who has had a rugby career in New Zealand as an All Black for over 13 years and headed up and was a captain of the All Blacks from 2020 to 2024. A very warm welcome to Sam Cane.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
It's great to have you here. Now, Sam, I understand that whilst you are the man about the house with your rugby, your wife is also an early learning teacher, childcare teacher.
Yeah, that's correct. She's trained and qualified. She hasn't done too much in the last few years as she's been busy either being pregnant or breastfeeding or raising our own. So yeah, we're lucky enough to have two boys, a 3-year-old and a recently turned 1-year-old. So between that and sort of helping support me as we've traveled back and forth from Japan the last couple of years. She hasn't done it, but yeah, that's her qualification.
Oh, well, it'd be great to have your insight, and I'm sure when she listens to this, she may have some other comments. But great that you've got two little boys. And what does sport look like in your house? I mean, with little kiddies, are there little games or routines that you are already doing with your children?
I wouldn't say there's any routines. The oldest Hudson, he just, for no reason other than maybe he's watched me on TV, he just loves getting in rugby clothes. So we've got soccer clothes as well, but he calls them all rugby gears. He wants to always wear his rugby gears around. We try and work on our catching a little bit, but like it only lasts as long as he's interested, which isn't too long. I feel like our youngest, his name's Reeve. I think already I'm starting to see that he enjoys chasing balls around a little bit more than Hudson. Hudson's, I don't know, it'll be interesting how he develops, but he seems a little probably more of an intellect. Like he could sit there. We read a lot of books with Hudson. He loves reading and could sit there for an hour reading books one after the other. He sits and listens to audio books while he eats his meals. So he loves that, and he likes things quite orderly. Even his cars, like he lines them up in a straight line and make sure they're all perfect, and gets frustrated.
He might be a perfectionist as he grows up.
Yeah, he might be, and it'll be interesting to see how the younger one develops. He already will chase balls around for a long time and finds that quite fun. So look, I've tried to do that. I've got a little plastic set of golf clubs. I wanted Hudson to try and swing, but same thing, he sort of lost interest quite quickly. So we just do, we're often playing, but we'll only play as long as he's interested in it.
Yeah, our centres are very play-based, and a lot of the learnings with young children these days is play-based, as your wife would know as well. And children start to gravitate towards things that really interest them. And once they're interested, that's where they really start to excel.
Yeah.
You grew up on a farm where sport and hard work just blended into your daily life. How do you think that makes you think, and are you trying to bring some of that into your parenting?
Yeah, that's a great point, because obviously, like the life I'm living at the moment, I'm playing rugby in Japan for sort of 9 months of the year, and then have a 3-month off season, which part of the reason for wanting to make that move, well, one was the financial security, but also allowed so much more time as a family, often home by 3 p.m. So always there every evening, and only spend one night away if it's on away game. So that's been awesome. Got to spend so much more time together. But it's certainly something I'm aware of. There's not much in terms of like the childhood and upbringing I had. Even my wife, she's off a farm too, so I had a similar upbringing. versus where we're living and how we're living at the moment. We're just trying to prioritize like as much time together. We feel like we're conscious that because they don't really have a home base consistently, it can be a little bit confusing for them. They don't really have a place they call home, or he sometimes gets confused and say, I want to go to that other house. So we just thought like for them, while there's a lot of moving, home for them is making sure that we're always together. And as long as they're
Yep.
with us, hopefully they'll feel safe and secure. But in terms of growing up, like I'd love to be able to purchase a bit of land one day so that they can have experiences, just exploring and a little bit of responsibility, whether it's helping rear calves or have some pet animals. I think like having those sort of responsibilities from a young age helped shape me. So yeah, certainly something I'm looking forward to in the future, giving some those experiences. But in the meantime, we're just doing our best with what we've got. Our house in Japan we've got no backyard or no front yard. It's a small little townhouse, and so we just make sure we make an effort to get to a park each day, or if the weather's bad, they've got a lot of indoor sort of play areas over there.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly different to the New Zealand, the open parks and everything else where the kids can get out and play. But having said that, it's also really good experience, and even at a very young age, children will start to pick up a lot. So whilst your rugby's taking you around the world, it's also growing them as children from a very early age to have that wide experience, and which I think is really good.
Yeah, we're certainly grateful for the opportunity to live in another country, and although they may, I think Hudson will be about 5 by the time we've just gone 5 by the time my contract finishes over there. We might make the move home about then. He may only have the small memories of it, but even the fact that he'll pick up a little bit of a foreign language will be quite cool.
Yep. How does I know you've done your so much rugby, and I think Harriet has she's done a couple of half Ironman events. How does that shape the way you both think about routines, learning and introducing sport at an early age? I know that you've mentioned how you get the golf clubs out and you throw balls around and everything else, but the fact that both of you have been involved in sport in one way or another, how does that sort of make you think about introducing sport at an early age?
Yeah, Harriet just completed her first marathon a few weeks back, in a
And which
really
one was that one?
impressive time. The Taupo
Okay. Yep.
marathon. So she's certainly a lot fitter than me. It became a little bit tricky juggling parenting time and the fact that we both had to train each day. I said,
Yep.
I'm looking forward to this being over, so we're not both training like professional athletes. Made things tricky, but I'm hoping that because we both want to live an active, healthy lifestyle, the kids, as they grow up, will see and witness that themselves, and hopefully that rubs off on them. I think, yeah, in terms of routines, like we've got the morning and evening routines are pretty much similar every day. I don't know if that's contributed to both of our kids seem to sleep well. Hasn't always been that way. Especially Reeve, the second one, challenged us for the first sort of 9 months of his life, but we've got him into a good routine now, which allows us and them to sleep well at night, which is a big part of it. But
which is huge to make you
huge.
to be able to function the next day.
It makes you just a better person, doesn't it? So yeah. But when it comes to their sport, I think we might be a few years away from working out how that integrates into their life. For now, as I said before, it's just about them having fun, exploring with different sports balls, or trying to teach Hudson how to ride a bike and just get outdoors. We'd certainly notice, like, if, say, particularly in Japan, because we don't have much space, if we've spent too much time in the house by a certain time of the day, then starts to get in a bit of a bad mood, a bit
Yeah.
moody, and so just a reminder that we try and get them outdoors as much as we can.
And that sort of moves on to the next question I wanted to ask you. With you were raised in Reparoa, everyone showed up because as a team, the team depended on it when you're doing sport and everything else. Not particularly with your children, but just children in general. How do you think a parent should think about teaching their children that kind of responsibility and team first thinking? I mean, it's not everything you do in life is not a solo event, and certainly in your type of sport, it's very much team reliant. So how do you think that is important when it comes to children learning about teamwork?
Oh, well, that's a outstanding point, Alan, and you're spot on. When those smaller communities, particularly where you're struggling for numbers for some of your sports teams, and you really have to rely on everyone, that's extremely important that everyone shows up. But in terms of my own childhood growing up, yeah, my mum was big on if we committed to doing something, whether it was for a school term or for half a year, no matter if it was something to do with drama or it was sport, if we committed to it at the start of the season, even if halfway through it or early on we decided it wasn't for us, we had to see it out. And part of that was one, just the commitment thing. If you're going to commit to something, you have to see it through, but also the fact that other people are relying on you. And that was, throughout our whole childhood. Every it helped. Both my parents were super supportive of our team sports. So my dad was the coach of my rugby team, and mum was big. I've got two younger sisters with netball, but we just knew and got to witness it too with their commitment by taking us to every training and every games. So I suppose like they weren't just telling us, we were getting to witness it firsthand from them too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. One, parents been involved because children really do appreciate it. And I'm very much along the same lines of thinking with you in terms of if you make a commitment, you stick to it. And we've got three boys, and my eldest, when he was at school, when he was about 7, I think it was, he decided he wanted to play cricket. And cricket on a Saturday just goes for hours and hours. And then after about three, he said he wanted out, and we said, no, you got to stick it now for the rest of the season. And so we had to go along and be on the sideline, even though we didn't want to, but we made him do that. And they're the sort of things I think that is so important with anything you do in life. Once you make a commitment to it, you got to do it.
And I think part of that too is that you may not like something at the start, but the fact that you stick with it, you might actually end up getting something out of it or finding that you do enjoy it.
Yep.
I remember it was like that with it was called Stage Challenge, the drama thing. We had to put on a big production, and all my mates, everyone was doing it, so I did it. And then I found out that we had to commit to Sunday afternoons or half days on Sunday, and after a while I didn't want to do it. And same thing, you had to stick it out. But it was actually the production, the day that we performed, and we all came together as a big group and put on this pretty cool production, and you just played a small part, something that you felt proud to be part of something big like that. Even though it didn't change that next year, I wasn't signing up to do it. But
but you did it, and you committed to it. And saw it
committed
through.
to it and enjoyed it, and enjoyed the end result. Yeah.
Sam, not every lesson comes through rugby or on the field. What are some of the small everyday things that you're doing that you believe build the same kind of discipline and resilience?
And like in terms of parenting,
Yep.
I say to my kids all the time, just try your best. And so Hudson's he's reframed it to try the best, try the best.
Try the best.
I just want him. Whether it's sometimes he's in a mood where he can put his shoes on. Sometimes he's in a mood where he can't do it himself. But I said, I just want you to try your best, mate. Try your best, then I'm willing. I can help you.
Yeah.
So that's something that I want them to install for the rest of their life. So no matter what they're doing, as long as you've tried your best,
Yep.
then you can be happy. I can be proud of that, and I'll be I'll be proud of that too. What else do we do?
I think one of the things that is a key thing is for people to try their best. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about participation. I think in the real world, it's actually do your best. Because once it's great to participate, whether it's in team sport or in things at school and as children are growing up, but when you get into the real world, it's more than participation, because that's a do or die thing out there. You've got to do
Mm,
your very best, and as long as you're true to yourself in doing that, I believe that's what makes people great people.
yeah. Also, one thing I'm conscious of is like it's really easy to and sometimes saves time to just do it for them, do it for them. Like how,
Yeah,
yeah. And so or if he can't work something out, I just try and pose questions like, "Oh, how would you work it out? What do you think you should do?" Just to get his problem solving
yeah.
going. And often he has the answers, but it's just their way of trying to get you to do it. So that's something that I always keep in the front of my mind is how I can get him to problem solve and come up with the
Wh-
answer.
which is good, and that's reframing the question, which we encourage all the time in our centres, because we will not say things like paint a house. We'll say, what can you paint? So it gets their inquisitive mind going as to how they be able to do things. You've captained clearly the All Blacks and faced insane pressure and led from the front. Are there little ways you try to pass on leadership values to even your eldest, even though he's only 3, um, but even at this early age?
Um, I don't think so. No, not at this stage. I mean, I want him to um, witness firsthand how I like treating his mother well. And like even I'll just every night will say, "Thank you, Mama, for cooking us such a yummy dinner." And almost without fail, he'll repeat that.
Yeah.
And but it sounds so genuine. So look, I'm not too worried about him whether he has leadership qualities or not. But I think like if you're a good person and true to yourself, then that's a big part. You know, people are drawn to people like that in the first place. So
Yeah.
yeah, at this early stage, I don't think there's anything. There might be, but there's nothing I'm consciously doing that I'm looking to
Well,
grow a leader.
it's possibly the unconscious that you're doing that instills that leadership quality, because as your children grow up, they'll see what you've done, how you respect people, and respect is a lot of things that come into somebody's quality anyway, in terms of leadership. So I've just got a couple more, and then I'll let you go because I know that you're
All
getting
right.
ready to head back to Japan again. Um, your family seems very tight knit with your mum, your grandmother, and Harriet. How much do you think emotional safety plays into confidence and building confidence in young people?
Yeah. Um, Good question. I almost feel like I'm bit underqualified to comment on stuff like this because we're still so fresh in our own parenting journey. But you're right. I feel incredibly lucky the fact that our family is so close, and we don't have family members that don't get on or anything like that. My mum's got a good relationship with her mum, and we'll come together when we need to. So like I'm feel like my mum's my first person I go to when I'm stuck for advice or need someone to call on. So I think one thing she's done well, there's never judgment, or she doesn't always try and offer solutions straight away. She'll listen, and then so I suppose like I've always been someone who likes to seek feedback anyway. So um, I know she's conscious of not trying to give me too much advice, but always appreciate receiving advice from her. What was the question again about emotional security? Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's and I think you've really answered it. But the with children, it doesn't matter whether it's just your little ones, but just in children in general, it's a pretty crazy world out there, and to have that social support, to have somebody that they can go to receive information that they know is safe
Yeah.
information is so important, and to surround themselves with people who can give them that support. And it sounds like you've got that, which is something that a lot of people, if they haven't got, it's worth reaching out to get people around them to give them that support through tough times, I suppose.
Yeah, and the fact that when we go to Japan, it almost probably brings us closer together as a family because we don't have really we don't have any family support over there, so we just have to rely on each other a little bit more. Um, but I think it's been good for us. I mean, in terms of some of the when I think of emotional support, say for Hudson as a 3-year-old, it's a little bit of a balancing act sometimes between when he throws. I find it a bit of a balancing act between when he throws a tantrum over something silly, like not wanting cereal today, or
Yes.
even though he does every day, and how much I pick him up and give him a cuddle over that, versus how much I bend down and crush and try and help him work through it. You know, yeah. There's obviously times when they do need a cuddle and help them work through their emotions, and other time,
Yeah.
if it's just me trying to work out, or us trying to work out as parents, um, what things he knows he's been silly and he's pushing at or trying to test us with, and other times when he's actually really struggling, that you can be there and give him a cuddle and give him time to feel safe and work through it.
And I think those are very sound words. And even when children have tantrums, a lot of the reasons they have tantrums is they actually don't have the language to explain what they want.
Yeah.
And if in the case of the milk on the cereal, he didn't want it, maybe if Hudson said, "Look, Dad, I don't really feel like having cereal today," there wouldn't have been a tantrum. But
Yeah.
the fact
Yeah.
that he
You got to
didn't
be a
think,
mind reader.
yeah. Just
Um,
one last question, Sam, and I'll let you go. Is there one specific moment from your childhood or on the field or off, even when you're growing up, that you'd love to recreate for your children because it sort of made you who you are?
oh, specific moment. Um, I, I, I think something it's not a specific moment, but something that's put me in good stead is that my parents, and it might be a little bit contrary to some of the teaching or parenting methods that I read about or see these days, but they were never ones to um, criticize. So they were never ones to criticize, but they also didn't overpraise us in terms of like any achievements that we did, whether it was on the sporting field or off the field. So it was never so much. We were never we were driven kids to want to achieve well, but we were they didn't pump our tires up too much constantly. And I mean
Yeah.
that's a lot. Example on Saturday sport, Dad's the coach, so he's watched every game. But we'd never drive home, and I'd never fear the drive home because he would dissect the game and tell me what I did and didn't do well. He'd just leave it to me. And then there'd be, once every 3 weeks, he'd just say, "Sam, I thought you played really well today." Like each game I wanted to play well, but just that little bit of positive reinforcement meant a lot to me. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. You probably know
Well,
better than me. But it allowed me to, as I grew up, I think, not get too carried away with things and not get too down on things, sort of stay reasonably neutral.
I think the positive reinforcement at the right time is really important. And it sounds like your father chose to do that at a particular time rather than every game or every event. And that has so much power when it's used correctly. The whole thing of bringing up children, whether it's positive reinforcement or constructive criticism, it's got to be used at the right time. And if it's overused, it loses its impact. So I think that's a great answer that you've given. So
Yeah, I think you're right. She just like that meant for me, like when he said it, it obviously meant it. Whereas if he'd said it
yeah,
every week, it would have.
yeah,
Yes, you're right. It would have lost its effect. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Sam, we've got quite a lot of families in our centres, and what you've shared will be wonderful, and I'll be very excited to share your comments with them. Look, at the end of the day, we're all human, and we all go through the same thing with children as we're bringing children up. There's no right or wrong way, but a lot of guidance, and for people who've been through it is really helpful. So I thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the very best as you head back with your family to Japan, and I'm sure you'll be counting the days to get back to New Zealand.
yeah, thanks, Alan. It's like I said, I felt almost a little bit unqualified to be coming out on this stuff, as I'm just feels like I'm learning all the time, and I'm sure as you say, we're all just trying to work it out as we go. So no, it's been awesome to chat, but I'll by no means have it all worked out, that's for sure.
We're always learning, so I thank you so much. All the very
Thanks,
best.
Matt. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.